Okay, this is sort of a little humorous. Rarely do you go and look for a graveyard only to find another one, and that is apparently what happened today. So, I am going to take this path up, and I just looked up and saw we have the correct coordinates for the graveyard. And I just looked over to the left, and there are two sets of coordinates. Alright, so this looks like this is a stone. Okay. Here. Wow, okay. Yes. I did not expect it to be this. I saw the sign way over there, so I did not. But these are just little stones. We call them footstones. They don't look like they're grave stones in the way that we traditionally refer to them as gravestones. And we will. There's a path here, so we will see if this is the correct path. Yeah, here's another one. Look at this. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, another one here. Yeah, look at this. Okay. We have another one over there. Another one perhaps over there. So this is when I said there could be hundreds of people buried here. It is possible that there are indeed hundreds of people buried here. Okay? This is not one I was able to find very easily because it is off the beaten path. So here are more stones. And again, these aren't going to have, there's one here, there's one there. I don't know whether these have names on them or carved into them or did at one point. But you can see here you can see this is a good example of a divot. Okay, so you may not be able to see that, but you can see it curves down here. I'm not sure if that can be seen, but take a picture of that. One right here. See if I can take a better angle shot from this. Let's see. Yes. And there's one over there. I mean, I don't know how far this goes. It's worth investigating. An AI can tell me if this is Vinca vine or not. But I see definite impressions. That's one, that's one, that's one, that is one. And you can see the impressions up and down through this entire hillside. Not all of them have stones, but I mean, that's one. This is another one. I'll walk around it. But you can see all these have impressions clearly. Even with the tree work and the damage that's been done, that's an impression, that's an impression. Come over this way, because I saw a sign over here. Okay, so that's a big impression. That's one over there. That's where I came up from. Okay. So there is a gated area here, or not gated, did I say gated? Didn't mean gated. Here is a wall, or what's remained of a wall here, and you can see it looks like other people might have been buried outside of the wall. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe somebody else does, but you can definitely see like grave spots. There's one. There's one. There's one. There's one over there. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. There's one there. One there. And then let's see. I'll get this picture. One there, here. Let's see, this is a border. And then, of course, the sign. This is what I was looking for. Vaughn's Gap Cemetery. Through here. Now these stones, we expect there to be some headstones. There should be headstones buried here somewhere, but we're not going to obviously look for those. This is the witness tree. And so this here looks like it could be part of a tombstone, but because it's so flat, I don't know. And obviously the trees came down, caused a lot of damage in here. That's one. Here's the Vaughn Gap Cemetery, and again, more divots. And you can see it probably goes throughout. They think that this area could have been a place where people passed away. No, I'm sorry. I'm not thinking. This could be a place where African American slaves could have been buried. So, again, I don't have any fact-based evidence, but you can see this is the first time I've seen footstones so prominent, even with all of these leaves. And I mean, this could go a good distance, I suppose. Okay, I'm trying to get a wide shot. And again, you see storm damage. And I don't know how far up this goes, but it goes uphill. But I do see more indents. So, I mean, this is really clearly, for somebody learning about this, and stone, you can see where people were buried, and you think, well, why would there be shifting in the ground? And it's because the ground was just messed with. There we go. Well, look at this. It's gonna be a long video. Curious how far up this goes. Looks like it goes up pretty good distance, but you can see more and more divots. This looks like a marker of some kind, and it's square. So I wonder if this was a boundary of some sort. I don't know. That's definitely a fieldstone. We've got some really good fieldstones over here. Look at these here. And more divots. You see the depressions. You may not be able to see them, but I can see them as I'm pointing. They're all over here. Here. And this is amazing. And again, I don't know. There's another one. Some probably have been pushed down over time. And there's the sign way over there. So this is clearly a burial. I'm just trying to see how far up the hill these go. I mean, I imagine this place looked totally different back in the day. Just curious how far up this goes. Yeah, that's the ridge I usually walk on, and that's the Monkey Ridge Trail, I believe, is over there. So, all right. And there's also a trail. Yeah, there's the trail. Okay, so for proximity, this is a trail that leads down. You can see that there if you look carefully. That looks like a trail. There's the red. Yep. So this is a cut through for the trail, but obviously it doesn't come into the section, which is great. Okay. I don't see any more stones here. That doesn't mean that there aren't any. Because there's the path. There we go. There's the path. see that? That goes down and around. Well, now I'm beginning to wonder if this is the path that I think it is the Mossy Ridge path. Okay. Wow, here I was so close to it and did not know it. So, note that there is more than one cemetery exceedingly close to the Mossy Ridge Trail. I thought that was a linker trail. And this is where the graves start, the divots start here. Another one, and then a bunch over here. You can see how it goes up and down, and over there. So this is all grave area here that we're looking at. All of it, unmarked. It's not just terrain of the land. Nice marker here. That one's fairly square. But okay, I think we've accomplished our goal. We've found what we were looking for. And we can close out this exercise. I may need to take a few more pictures of places that were damaged by the storm. I mean, these divots are really clearly deposit. Just a side note, I came down this way a little bit closer, and these divots still come down this way. There are still stones that come further down than I thought they would. So I'm going to think that anytime I see a divot, that I'm looking at another grave stone. Yeah, here's another one. Okay, so this goes much further down than I imagined. When you start looking at these things, you think every stone is a grave, and it could be, at least in here for sure. But it's the divots like this that really tell the story, right? Anybody else who doesn't have knowledge of this wouldn't know this is a grave, right? It sinks down. So I'm going to give you a proximity. Show you how far down it goes. So that's the road. That's the area, and they go way over there to the side of the embankment.